So I just had a custody hearing on this week. I think it was on Monday. Um, and I filed a motion for custody and a motion to reduce child support and a motion for damages because I haven't seen my children in almost 3 years now. Come June 28th, it'll have been 3 years since I've even spoken to them. Got a picture up. No, I don't even know what they look like. Okay, so I'm very excited to be able to go in and apply for custody, submit a motion to do so. Um, so I was excited for this hearing to get things rolling. Okay. So the opposing side, my ex, she shows up to the hearing. Okay. And there's a whole bunch of couples in there with us. It was Judge Iverson. Um, and the she didn't submit any rebuttal or a motion to deny what I was requesting. Okay. And the judge was talking to this couple right before she opened our case up. And she said, I'm not allowed to give legal advice to you. She said this to the guy who also didn't submit anything back to what his wife was asking for. I think it was like medical or whatever. So the judge told Kirsten that you didn't submit anything in return. So I have to give him everything he's asking for unless you do so. So she goes, in the name of justice, I'm going to be ordering a continuance. Now, this is just after she said she's not allowed to give legal advice to any one of us. Okay? So she told Kirsten, she gave her legal advice and told her what she needed to submit. Okay? And she gave her weeks to do so. Okay? Now, not only did she just give Kirsten legal advice, but she made a legal decision on behalf of both of us, because neither of us had requested a continuance. Like Kirsten could have said, I request a continuance, or I could have said, I request a continuance. But a judge can't do that for you. If they can't give you legal advice, they can't make legal decisions for you during a on-the-record court case. So I want people to understand that. So if the judge did not interfere, and if she did not make any legal decisions or interfere with our case, she would have had to order me. She would have to grant me everything I was asking for in my order, which was just seeing my kids 1 day a week. The 1 day a week I don't work. That's it. That's what I was asking for, to see my kids at least 1 day a week for 6 hours. Because they haven't seen me in 3 years. I want to start small. And then I said, until June 1st, I want this order in. And then I'll be asking for more. Okay? Because my girls have been through a lot. We were together all the time before all this crazy stuff happened with Kirsten, my dad, my mom. Okay? So I don't understand how Judge Iverson can sit there with a straight face or a good conscience and say, I'm not allowed to give people legal advice when you're making legal decisions for them. Okay? If she would have listened to her own advice, she would have had to grant that order that I requested, my motion. She would have to grant it all. Okay? Because Kirsten wasn't prepared. She didn't submit anything. And now, so I'm the one who has to pay for that. The guy who literally did everything, represented himself, did everything on his own, submitted all the proper documents. Not one of them was denied. Okay? Now I have to sit here for 3 weeks and wait for the next hearing. Because she said, Kirsten's reasoning for not submitting the documents was, I don't have a lawyer. Because her last lawyer fired her. Her last lawyer fired her because she knew she was lying about all this stuff. She finally figured out Kirsten was lying about all this stuff. So Judge Iverson, she violated court rules, her own court rules, okay, and was able to get away with it. And then, so here's my point. Who holds Judge Iverson accountable? Who holds her accountable for violating, a court rule where you're not supposed to give legal advice or make legal action on behalf of either party, okay, which is on the record, which I'm going to be submitting, okay? Again, there's one little building in Minnesota with about 2 people in it, okay? It's the Minnesota Judicial Standards Office, I believe. These are the people that oversee and hold judges accountable for breaking the law or violating their oath. There's a tiny little building, a 1-room office in Mendota Heights, connected to a whole bunch of other businesses. Okay. Now the same goes for police officers in the state of Minnesota. There's a tiny little office in South Minneapolis, I believe. It's the Minnesota Peace Officers Board, and that's who it's called, the Post, I think. Peace Officers Standard and Training Board. It's the board that gives police officers their license to be a police officer and can take it away. And when I went there was about 5 people in there working, overseeing thousands, okay, of police officers in the state of Minnesota. Now there's I think there's about 500 or more judges, and they have about 2 people holding them accountable who are former lawyers. Okay. Now here's my idea. If you wanted to redo this criminal justice system from the ground up and not take to like reset it, in order to be a judge or a lawyer or a police officer or sheriff, anything to do with the criminal justice system, if you have power over other people's rights, you should start your career in a jail cell or a prison cell for a month, okay, to see what it's like. So you do not, in the event that you do not send innocent people there. So you care about it that much, like, I never want them to go through that if they're innocent, okay? And then you could help make the jails and prisons better, okay? Each new class of police officers or judges that go in there, you could literally write down the corrections that need to happen in each jail, okay, and prison, okay? And you would make things better if you started your career there, okay? Because that's where you send people, the criminal justice system. So if you haven't tried it yourself, how can you send somebody there, okay? That's called common sense. I don't know why that isn't a law. But that's just, yeah, my 2 cents, my 5 cents, my 6 cents. Love you. Have a great day.